Good morning, Philippines. Well, we're off on a crazy expedition for a wedding, and I'm stuck in the car. Poor dog's cooped up for 2 days in the house, and I'm cooped up with these kids until we get to the hotel. What do you say, kids? Are you ready to go to a wedding?
Yes!
Who's a bridesmaid?
What's that?
Who's the flower girl? Oh, okay, there you go. Who's the ring bearer?
Me.
You? Okay, well, maybe, who knows? We'll see. Okay, let's have a look. Now hold on just a darn minute. A wedding march? Yep. There he goes. Our buddy Sam is off to a fate worse than death. The poor bachelor had been with her for coming 15 years. Had a son with her, and he's in grade 6 now in school, but finally broke down. Now, we've all had a past, but back and forth between Florida and Cebu, this has been going on for a long time. And it just goes to show you girls that if you hold out long enough, he may just let you tie that noose around his neck. So, not to be outdone, Filipinas, they're a dedicated bunch, and I wanted to take this opportunity to discuss a really important issue with you guys if you're thinking about falling into this trap. First of all, it is a trap. Doesn't matter what country you're from, the guy always gets the short end of the stick if things don't turn out. And in the Philippines, you better be especially careful because you could end up in prison. They've got some strange laws here that you just have no understanding of from the West. First of all, if she comes home one day and finds you in bed with her girlfriend or something like that, she can not only just chop her dingle-dangle off, she can kill you and get away with it. Yeah, that's right. There's a strange law here in the Philippines that says that adultery being a sin and being against the law, that you, as a bereaved spouse, in your state of emotional distress, can physically kill your husband and you will get off scot-free. So, all you guys complaining about no-fault divorce and having to give your wife half your stuff, how about giving your life? Because that's what marriage is in the Philippines. It's about giving your life. So the whole parameters of discussion are completely different here. Now, a lot of you neophytes, newbies to the Philippines, come here with the idea that you're gonna cruise the dating scene like you do in the West. Well, do so at your own peril, because family looks upon things a little bit different here, and hence when you come up with discussions about scammers and things being taken the wrong way, this is probably the reasons why. Filipinas, and Filipinos for that matter, do not think the way you do. They are thinking in terms of a permanent relationship that is a one-off, that they'll be a virgin when they get married. That is the goal, and to dedicate their life to a single spouse that will be there for their lifetime, come hell or high water, better or for worse. So if you're coming here as a Westerner and thinking that you can try a little bit of this and try a little bit of that, and maybe if after a while you two get along together, she can just move in with you and you can live your hedonistic lifestyle, it's time for you to wake up. First of all, a lot of you, an awful lot of you, are making promises you can't keep and haven't thought out. When you meet your Filipina and she may be working in some poorly paying job and you think, I could cover that. So you say, why don't you just quit your job and come and live with me? That's probably the time you're going to discover if she has any children from a previous relationship that she's been hiding from you. And you may overcome that objection and say, fine, we can go live out in the provinces. It'll be cheaper there anyway, and we can just carry on. Things are going great. So now you're asking her to quit her job, which for a Filipina, they come few and far between. And if you knew the hoops that they have to jump through in order to get a job here, you wouldn't be so quick maybe to pull the trigger. Because when they do apply and they send their resumes in, they don't just send their resumes in, they send their photographs, a copy of their schooling. They're required to have, in a lot of cases, they want a university degree for a retail job here in the Philippines. And it's a very competitive market. And the major chains have a policy that you have to be not just young, but attractive. They'll ask you what your teeth are like and check on your physical appearance if you're overweight or whatever. They make their girls fit a certain mold. And then about 5 or 6 years later, they dump them. They just fire them because they don't want them to be permanent employees, and they'll hire another young one. So if a girl's got a job that she's trying to cling on to, and you waltz in one day and say, oh, yeah, we could all shack up together, no problem, I got it covered. Then you move in, and then you move to the provinces, and then you discover her family. And Uncle Joe has a drinking problem, wants you to go drinking with him on a regular basis, and you're retired, you got nothing better to do, so you may fall into that trap. And her nephew is trying to get back to school, but doesn't have the money to go away to study. But no worries, maybe you'll help him out a little bit with that. And before you know it, you've got a line up at the door of people looking to milk you, and you're going to complain, oh, this is all a scam, and it gets on your nerves, and you can't handle it anymore, and you throw up your hands in the air because you don't have the patience, you don't have the temperament, and you say, I'm out of here. You change the locks on the doors, you tell her you're done, and suddenly she's down in some shelter trying to figure out what to do next. Well, the next thing happens is you get a knock at the door. And guess who that is? It's the police. And you explain to her that you're on the lease and she's got no rights there. And they may agree with you initially, but they're going to come back and they're going to arrest you and they're going to throw you in jail. Because what you've done now to this woman and her daughter is you've stressed them without any form of support. You just can't pull the rug out of from under people like you do in the West. So, if you're lucky and you find a good woman and she hangs in there, she's going to show up one day and she's going to want to marry you. And she'll do everything she can within her powers to make you happy, happier than you've ever been in your life. But, like I remind you guys, you just can't take this lightly. Now, our buddy Sam, yeah, was been married before, and he's had business in the States, and finally, after 15 years, they're going to tie the knot. And I wish him all the luck in the world. My daughter's there in the wedding party somewhere, and that's Sam in the suit, I guess you would call it, that looks a lot like a traffic cone. That sorry, it's the color. It just kind of jumps out at you like a warning sign on the side of the road. But let's get back to what's happening here on the ground and enjoy the bride as she walks into the room. Now you're going to see the bride's mom and dad, if they're both still living, accompany her down the aisle, partway down, and they'll be meeting up with the groom at the halfway point, where he'll embrace them both and be welcomed into the family, or invited into the family. The ceremony's not over yet. So it's a very public wedding. It's out in the courtyard of the hotel, and everybody shows up. They'll take their stations, and when I got married, it was like a 17-minute deal, in and out. But this one drags on, and eventually I'll cut out and spare you the agony of the rest of it. But they're both going to sit down here because it's a long service. They don't stand for it. And of course, there's a PA system. Everybody's telling their wedding vows over the PA. And it may be considered a poor country, but when it comes to weddings, they spend as much as they can. It's quite lavish. So there you go. May they live happily ever after. Now, getting back to my point about Filipinas. You guys, when you're coming over here, you better wake up and realize that it's no light matter. So my suggestion is you spend your time meeting your Filipina online and get to know her online before you show up here in the Philippines, because she will want to meet you at the airport. Once she's got you in her sights, she's not going to let you out of it. And you better be used to a clingy female. Hopefully enough of you have been married to miserable women who never gave you the time of day or the attention that you always wanted. But now it's here. You should relish it. Hold her hand. Be proud of her. Show her off in public. Buy her nice clothes. Make her feel feminine and beautiful. That's what your job is as a man here in the Philippines, is to provide and protect and make her feel like the woman she really is. So now might be a good point to again thank all the subscribers and remind you that this channel doesn't grow unless you share it with other people. If you find I'm providing halfway decent product, please let people know. Otherwise, we'll wither on the vine. And share. Sharing is caring. If you can share this, that'd be great. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next video. But by liking, it tells the algorithm to spread it amongst a wider audience. And these days I don't have much of an audience, in that some of my videos are controversial. And I don't apologize for that. I appreciate people who think and can discuss ideas, and some of my stuff is a little bit off the walls. Conspiracy theorists might think so. So maybe you do too. So if you could please like, share, and subscribe, and we will talk to the next one. And we'll just let this video run out and you can enjoy the show. I do.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
Okay, you guys are a couple. Yeah, I now pronounce you man and wife in that jazz. Okay, now this is the part where everybody falls asleep. Well, he talks about his dying love for her, and guy shows up with a ring, couple of rings to wear on each other's fingers, and while you're nodding off to sleep, the cameramen are running around taking pictures, and the priest is saying, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be part of the show too. I've got some prophetic sound, theological crap that I want to feed your way. Wait, what's that? Oh yeah, right, I have to wait until they're done. Okay. So it's blah, blah, blah time. First from Sam, and then you'll be hearing from Analo, who will be breaking the news to him that she's the boss from now on. So he better watch out. And here it comes, that shopping list of all the things that he's got to do during the marriage. Now, to those of you who've stuck around this far, this is the reception after the fact, and a little tip to those who are getting married in the Philippines. When you set out the number of tables for people attending at the reception, it's always a good idea to make sure you do a head count of the children who are going to show up. Because, well, you see, there's a lot of people seated here. There's the bride and groom over there in the corner, shaking hands and getting congratulations. While that's going on, somebody didn't take into account that there's a lot of kids at this wedding, and they're sitting on the floor, they're waiting for a turn, or there's the parents standing behind them, hoping to get a seat at some point. Nobody looks too happy right now. And little Bo's hungry. So we're back here at the ceremony, and the rings are being shared. Let's carry on and see what's going on. Well, it looks like she's still reading that list. It could go on for a while. But hey, he waited 15 years to marry her. I guess he has to give her a little slack on her big day. Anyhow, let's get back to the point about marriage in the Philippines. You came here because the transient attitudes of Western women that treat you like a disposable light bulb or napkin. You didn't want that, so you came here to the Philippines. Well, with the good comes the bad. So if you find your Filipino is a little clingy, a little overly jealous, a little crazy sometimes, hey, remember your Western women were crazy too. But in this case, she'll be crazy in love with you, if you're lucky. That's not to say that there aren't some scammers out there, for sure. But for every good one, there's a bad one. And if you've had bad judgment in the past with the women you married in the West, what makes you think you're going to be some stunning seer of virtue here in the Philippines? No, you're likely to make the same mistakes. So unless you can correct your aberrant behavior before, it's going to be really difficult for you. So you don't want to be in a situation where you're thrown in jail because you've abandoned your wife and left her, and you can't exit the Philippines until she says so. And that could be a long time waiting. So while people go on about it being more fun in the Philippines, don't mess around with drugs, the girl's heart, young children, or anything to do with her family, because in the end, you'll lose, and you'll lose big time. There's a reason why you'll never own real estate in the Philippines. You'll always be known as the foreigner. You will never be family. You will be the foreigner in the family. They may treat you real well, but you'll always be an outsider. You weren't born here, and you're out of your box now. So you may spend some time calling out how much you love your Filipina, but at the end of the day, all the laws are in her favor. This is her country, and don't you forget it. And so it goes. If you decide to have children, make sure that they have dual citizenship so they've got options. And I would recommend you putting things in their name just in case you're concerned that she disappears to the provinces and you never see her or your kids again. At least if you grant them citizenship to your home country, it gives the kids you love options. So there you go. That's my view of the situation here in the Philippines. It's not perfect, not by a long shot. It's completely different from what you're used to. And if you're somebody who's grown up in a small town America somewhere and you haven't really traveled much and you've been watching bloggers with the suggestions that you got to come here to the Philippines, what makes you think you're going to have any level of success if you've never stepped out of your own state? No, travel a bit, see the world. The Philippines may not be you. You may prefer a Russian bride, or a Costa Rican girl, or somebody from the Dominican Republic. It's a big planet out there. Who knows? Maybe you like a Thai wife, although I wouldn't recommend it. So there you go. And as he starts crying about where this is leading him to, let's all sit down and think about the seriousness of getting married in the Philippines. Oh, that's a load off my mind. So weddings are a stressful time, and the best laid plans can go foul. Do the best you can and have your best day you possibly can on your special day. And to those of you who've listened this far, should I do another live session? They don't seem to be well attended, and what topic would we discuss? I'd be interested to hear from you, get some input, and don't forget that you can always contact me at philcartmel@gmail.com. While I got your attention here too, there's the other side of all this too. It's not just being sensitive to what the Filipino wants. She has to be sensitive to your needs too and your concerns. Just to respect the fact that you've come a long way from your foreign country, surrounded by people who speak your language and understand your customs and culture, to come here to a strange environment and get adapted to a new way of life. So, not every Filipino is going to be that way because of their heavy family and cultural values and an inability by many to understand where you're coming from. So it requires a great deal of patience. This whole country requires a great deal of patience, whether it's in traffic or a government office or just waiting in line in the grocery store. So unless you've got an abundance of patience, it wouldn't matter who you married. But hey, look at that girl. What's she doing over there by the pool? She's stealing the show. She's photobombed the place. Anyway, get back to my discussion here. Um, yeah, she's got to be sensitive to your needs as well. And it's not going to be easy for you to bail out of a relationship here in the Philippines, as I've explained earlier. So take an abundance of caution, guys. Make sure that she's the right girl and that you're right for each other. So with that, I'll wish you the best of luck. For those of you who might be interested in what the cost of an actual wedding would be, I think ours was about 150,000 pesos, which would be at 42 pesos to the dollar Canadian. So that would be about $3,000 Canadian. And then coupled with that, you'll probably want to have what they call a prenuptial photo shoot. We had ours done in Cebu here, and it involved changing clothes 2-3 times to create the illusion of some variety in the shoot, which was all done on one location. But yeah, professional photographer with wedding shots and sunsets and all the rest of it, properly lit and produced. It may run you another $500 to get that done, and it's really worthwhile as a permanent record. Now, preparing for a wedding, there's more to it than just the money. You got to remember that there's a Catholic church is involved, and you want to make sure that you've got a copy of your physical divorce certificate that you can provide to the church, and even then they may not accept that. In some cases they may ask for an annulment. It depends on where you go. At the end of the day, we decided we'll get the deed done because we tried a couple of years earlier and the church wouldn't let it go through, and so we went with a civil wedding eventually, and that was well worth the while. The actual wedding dress, you can rent a wedding dress, it's cheap, but we bought ours for 20,000 pesos, and it's available there if somebody fits it. She could rent it out. I suggested we get remarried in Canada in the same dress, but for some reason the family considers it bad luck for the wedding dress to leave the country from where it was first wedded in. So I don't know what's behind that, and you'll have to deal with all the nuances, superstitions, and tribal customs depending on where in the Philippines your bride came from. It can be quite different from Luzon to Mindanao to the Visayas, so you might want to take that into account and customize yourself with what the local rituals are. And that's about it, other than getting to know who your in-laws are. I strongly recommend that, because you may find you've got a real diamond in the rough, but it's the rough that you got to worry about surrounding her. As I've mentioned before, I wouldn't get life insurance in the Philippines if I were you, not because your bride isn't noble by any means, but one of her relatives may decide to bump you off and then pry her for the money from the inheritance, totally unbeknownst to her. So you got to watch out for that kind of stuff. You're in a different country, and different levels of morality. You'll see signs in the Philippines all over the place reminding people of things that in the West you just would accept as part of your responsibility. So when you see signs saying being honest out there, that's how clearly you have to be reminded of it. Just by comparison, if you go to Thailand to a temple, you'll find clear donation boxes with hundreds of thousands of baht shoved in the box, and it's left completely untouched. Try that in any kind of church here in the Philippines, and I can pretty much guarantee you it won't last very long, because somebody will justify themselves as being poor enough to help themselves to it. Now, there are some things that vary from country to country that you just can't fix. So that's just about it. I appreciate hearing from you guys. Like I say, I learn far more from you than you'll ever learn from me. And keep those comments coming, and any themes or subjects you would like discussed in videos. I'm still continuing my construction videos, which come out weekly. We're up to week 26 right now, and we'll be start doing the finishing, which would probably be much more attractive to what many of you might be interested in terms of living here in the Philippines and maybe developing on a property. And that being said, we're sitting about 2 million pesos. Thanks for dropping by, and as my son likes to say,
Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.